Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you guys have had a wonderful weekend. Welcome back to the channel. As promised, or as I said last week, I've had a lot of friends and basically, well, friends are a loose term. People I've been playing video games with for a very, very long time, many, many years. I guess you could loosely call them friends. Uh, they recently found my, not recently, actually finally checked out my YouTube channel and subscribed. And actually like some of the content that I've reacted to on my channel. Excuse me, I just had breakfast. Um and and besides music, they also told me that I should like do some more pop culture reaction stuff, like stuff pertaining to like entertainment, celebrities and stuff like that. Which I kind of do have an outlet that I subscribe to in some way or shape or form, whether it be YouTube channels, podcasts, or websites. And some of the our friendly discussions on Discord was, we were talking about Netflix buying Warner Brothers, aka WB, and everything that they own, and the whole Paramount Plus situation. And then that turned into like a the whole discussion of, like products such as like superhero movies. DC Comics are owned by Warner Brothers, and through some very entertaining discussions for like several hours, um, I was reminded of a channel that I follow that I had not watched in a while because I've been too busy, trying to grow my own channel and stuff like that, but with different content. I actually recently checked his channel, and Nerdrotic, the channel that we're going to be reacting to today, it made several recent videos about the topic that my friends and I, my gamer buddies and I, were talking about. So, I would like to react to the video by Nerdrotic. I will leave a link to his channel down below. Please go if you guys are into Marvel comics, DC comics, superhero movies, TV shows, pop culture stuff, movies, and television shows. Uh, this guy has really, really based, but for the most part, opinions that I agree when it comes to uh subjective opinions about the entertainment. So, we are about to watch his newest video called Superheroes Are Cooked, Absolute State of Marvel and DC. My friends on Discord, I actually pinged them this video, and they've all watched it. I told them, you guys watch it first. I will get my first reaction and record it and put it up for you all to see. So, let's go ahead. This is a 20-minute video, so sit back, relax. If I feel like I have to chime in, I will pause the video. All right, here we go. Ah, yes. I actually just watched this movie not too long ago, 2 weeks ago. It's like Superman and Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve. This is my favorite Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film. Right here. You know the one with the Nickelback song? I need a hero to save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, this one is very divisive. Uh, I decided not to upload my reaction to this because the comment sections for many reaction channels to their Supergirl teaser trailer reactions was so negative. I was like, I'm not going to subject my channel to that kind of stuff. I am not interested in random bot accounts spamming my comment section. Okay. Oh boy.
Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you
go.
over 1 million lovers of all things good and dislikers of all things bad. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here by saying it hasn't been a good year for superhero films. Many of us said back in July of 2025, its future would be decided with the release of Superman and the Fantastic Four First Steps. And that answer came in the form of resounding mediocrity.
By the way, the Fantastic Four movie, you guys haven't watched it? I gave it a 5 out of 10. The first 15 minutes of the movie and the last 5 minutes of the movie were my favorite parts of the film. It was boring. I found the movie very boring.
Its future would be decided with the release of Superman and the Fantastic Four First Steps. And that answer came in the form of resounding mediocrity and diminishing returns. Which is sad because in many ways, superhero stories are American mythology, not only woven into the fabric of pop culture, but the entire culture. For generations, superheroes have captivated us with their embodiment of ultimate power and moral clarity, offering an escape into worlds where good triumphs over evil through extraordinary abilities and unwavering resolve. Their allure lies in the vicarious thrill of overcoming impossible odds, offering escapism where people can see themselves as agents of change in a chaotic reality. Ultimately, superheroes represent hope and aspiration while inspiring imagination, reminding us that there is the potential for heroism in all of us, even if it's in small everyday acts. And for a long period of time, Hollywood was able to, with varying degrees, capture this. So what the hell happened? Well, it's a tale as old as time with one recent addition.
By the way, James Gunn's Superman, I went into it not expecting much. My favorite James Gunn movie was actually Guardians 1 and Guardians 3. And I actually came away pleasantly surprised. I gave this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I've enjoyed it. I thought it was very entertaining, and this or at least this kind of universe and the humor, when I was a kid and I was buying cheap comics, they were cheap back then, super cheap. This was more along the lines of the types of comics that I got into, and then I got out of comics when, I think when did they started to do like darker, more grounded type of stuff, like after 9/11 or something, when things just had like a more darker tone, and then yeah, I stopped getting into comics and I started getting more into video games at that moment. But this thing about Superman, the thing I dislike the most about this movie is not the actor who portrays Superman, but they humanized him too much to the point that he actually looks like a scrub throughout half of the movie. He's not Superman for most of the movie. He's a super-powered human being. There's only like 2 or maybe 3 moments where he actually looks like Superman in the film.
It's an addition, greed, hubris, ego, and
again, maybe that's by design. Maybe that's what James Gunn wanted to do on purpose. Because while I liked uh Zack Snyder's version of Superman a lot. It wasn't perfect. I thought Zack Snyder's vision of Henry Cavill's version of Superman was too morose. Like he just looked miserable. He was miserable all the way up until the Justice League, you know? And then when they did the reshoot for the Justice League, and then the Snyder cut, you know, the Snyder cut kept to that tone all the way until like the very end, whereas, you know, the theatrical version of the Justice League it came off kind of awkward. Like they were forcing Clark to be happy, and you know, it was kind of weird. I was like, no, they should have just stick to the tone. It's just so obvious that the producers and everybody involved in making the movie was just so reactive to like the discourse of the fandom and everything. It's like the fans didn't like it, let's change it. Oh, the fans didn't like it again, let's change it again. Oh, the fans liked it the way it was before. Man, why did we change it? That's what happens when you got too many hands in the cookie jar. Too many cooks in the...
Slavish adherence to the message. At time of recording, the Supergirl trailer has just dropped, and I think this opening scene pretty much sums up the genre. And believe me, we'll get to that. But considering just that scene and the Supergirl poster that says truth, justice, and what...
By the way, why does her outfit look better than Superman's? Minus the trench coat. This looks better designed than Superman's outfit.
Supergirl poster that says truth, justice, and whatever. I think it's safe to say they've had a good run.
I'm in the minority that I actually got some of the comics or read some of the comics on this version of Supergirl. A lot of people are like, oh, she's a drunk and a rebel, and I'm like, no, she's scarred. She survived her planet's apocalypse. Okay? She's mourning. And she's having a hard time. I get it. Okay? And if James Gunn plays his cards right and actually sticks to it, in a couple of DCU movies, she's gonna have the biggest character progression out of all of the superheroes in James Gunn's universe. With that being said, this trailer is too influenced by Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think that's a little bit unfair, but it really does look like it's like kind of Guardians with the Galaxy, except you switch it out with Supergirl and Lobo.
And superheroes are cooked.
Yeah, come on! Whoever did this, just confess. We promise we won't be mad.
Basically, because of the mismanaged portion of too many people trying to control Zack Snyder and his universe, and everything was made to happen too fast. They didn't start off, when I mean Warner Brothers didn't start off by doing individual superhero movies. And they said, hey, let's do Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice right after Man of Steel. It's like, wait, you're going to be doing the first team-up movie? We don't have an established Batman film. We don't have an established Wonder Woman yet. We're already jumping the gun because they're trying to catch up to Marvel. That right there was a big red flag itself. Now, they rebooted the entire universe, going a different direction, a more campy direction, which I 60% love, but I do want some seriousness kept. But at this point, DC is still like they're 6 feet under the ground and they're trying to climb their way out of the hole. That's the way I see it.
But how could you say that? We've got Spider-Man Brand New Day and Doomsday coming out. Well, believe me, we'll get to that as well. But how do we get here? Well, there is a plethora of videos on this channel explaining exactly.
So I haven't watched. Okay,
We'll get to that as well. But how do we get here? Well, there is a
here we go. About 4 months ago was the last time. I remember these two Fantastic Four videos was the last that I watched on his channel. And then I spent more time playing video games and doing content on the side.
plethora of videos on this channel explaining exactly why, but to keep this from being a 3-hour video, I'll keep this as brief as possible. Prior to 2020, Paramount and then eventually Disney were eating good with superhero films. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is something we will never see the likes of again. Phases 1 through 3 collectively featured 23 films that all, with the exception of The Incredible Hulk, were moderate successes to box office smashes, culminating in a box office total that is approximately $22.6 billion. And that includes the highest grossing super.
You know why? There's a saying. There's a first time for everything. And then when you try to do it again, the effect isn't as impactful or as strong as it originally was. Unless the original vision or the original part of it was bad. It's not bad. If we're talking about Marvel from phase 1 all the way until, I don't know, 2019, 2020, that was peak comic book movie era. It's never going to happen again. Even when I'm 60, 70, when they try to reboot everything again for like the 4th time, it's never going to get this big.
Superhero film of all time while adjusting for inflation, Avengers Endgame. And the majority of this was accomplished without their biggest character, Spider-Man, and completely without X-Men and Fantastic Four, turning B-list characters like Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor.
This is my opinion, again, very super minority here. This new Marvel Cinematic Universe should be based around the X-Men. Not the Avengers. The Avengers had their era. It should be mutant. It should be not metahumans. They should keep pushing the word mutant. It should be the X-Men. It should be X-Force.
And yes, they were B-list characters, and Black Panther into household names. A consistency that has never been seen in Hollywood and never will be seen again. And if Kevin Feige would have quit there, his legendary status would be remembered to the end of days and maybe beyond. They wouldn't just name streets after him. They would rename Hollywood Feigewood.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Then there's
one of the greatest quotes. One of the greatest quotes ever.
Feigewood.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Then there's the other side of that coin prior to 2020, the much maligned Snyderverse or DCEU. The first 3 films.
I think the Amazon deliveries here. My dog's going crazy. I will be right back, guys. All right, I'm back. That was indeed the mailman. All right, let's continue.
Films were destroyed by the corporate critics, and we'll just say there was a lukewarm reaction from the audience, but from the people who do like them, they like.
Another thing that was weak, that I thought was weak about the Zack Snyderverse, was not so much the casting. It was the age range of the characters, you know? It was all over the place.
Liked him a lot. And after Zack Snyder had to leave after a family tragedy and the abysmal showing of the Justice League, things actually started picking up with Wonder Woman. That was...
Wait, was this one of the parts where they had to digitally remove his mustache?
Things actually started
Yeah. So Henry Cavill, during the reshoots, he had mustache. He had a mustache, a thick mustache. I don't know. I forgot the movie. Was it Mission Impossible or The Man They Call Uncle or something? Where he had to grow out a thick mustache. Couldn't use a fake one. Here, this is the CG where they remove. You can see the blur, the unrealistic blur on his upper lip.
Picking up with Wonder Woman that was well received by
Yeah, this was one of the best Zack Snyder era DC movies right here. One of the best, in my opinion. My top 3 is in this order: Man of Steel, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman 1. Ironically, they were solo films. Just saying.
the corporate critics and the audience. Aquaman, which made $1 billion,
Yep.
and a film outside of the DCEU, Joker, which made $1 billion.
I watched this movie. It was boring, but I didn't think it was bad. It was boring to the point where I was just very uninterested by the last like 20 minutes of the film. I was like,
Without China. And admittedly, both Aquaman and Wonder Woman had Zack Snyder's fingerprints all over it. But reflecting the problems that they have with their source material publisher, DC Comics, they found themselves in the position of playing catch up to Marvel, a company that basically took everything they started
Yep.
in the comics and did it better. And this all had to do with Warner Brothers. Now, if Disney is Hollywood's most evil company, Warner Brothers is its dumbest due to studio interference.
He's right. He's so right. I feel the same way. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Everything they started in the comics and did it better. And this all had to do with Warner Brothers. Now,
Man.
if Disney is Hollywood's most evil company, Warner Brothers is its dumbest due to studio interference, causing all of their problems. And they were utterly dominated by Marvel, except for
Remember what I said earlier? Too much hands in the cookie jar? Too much chefs in the kitchen?
one thing. Wonder Woman and its success combined with the Me Too Time's Up era made Kevin Feige blink and flush down the toilet a formula that was working just fine, bypassing decades of comic book lore that sold in the range of hundreds of thousands to millions, that rushed to adapt a more current era that was filled with race and gender swaps in comic books that were more likely than not canceled.
Yeah. This is one thing that I couldn't stand about the whole DEI movement from the previous political regimes was force feeding current day political and social economical issues into works of art and media and platforms that the majority of them, and I mean majority, I'm talking like 90% of them, are either nonfiction or fantasy based. Okay? Like, why are we going to be putting DEI stuff in stuff like Star Wars or in stuff like superhero stuff? They're changing the property. Everything that was going on in the DC stuff, this also goes into the video games. It's mostly done by Warner Brothers for like the entire time that, you know, the whole Zack Snyder era was going on. And like I said, it's not his fault. Not his fault. Okay? I mean, WB. Oh my God. And then I guess maybe after Avengers Endgame, or maybe right before Avengers Endgame, that era, like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever, Marvel and Disney started doing more of that stuff that DC was doing. It's become less about the source material, the IP, aka the individual property, and more about how can we take everything going on today so that we can grab and attract the younger audience. Say, hey, remember that thing that happened last week, or you know what's going on right now in the government? To make you better understand what's going on, we're gonna put it in this movie, this superhero movie. And oh my god, man, that started getting on everybody's nerves, and it started changing all of these movies and television shows. It's like, dude, come on, man. At at that point, they've gone past the point of not just changing the material itself. All of a sudden, it's become some sort of corporate business model, or some, government ideology that the corporations need to follow. It screwed everything up and made everything terrible. Can't stand it.
That sold in the tens of thousands, which includes the creation of the MCU from Kevin.
Love or hate the current political regime, whether you're for it or against it, there's one big positive that's coming out of this. There's less BS. There's less BS that we have to deal with. Okay? We're actually starting to see creativity. We're actually starting to see actual elements of IPs not having to be micromanaged and changed to fit the current world society, the current political climate, the current social climate. I'm sick of it, okay? All of this stuff, this comic book hero stuff, it's make-believe. It's a form of escapism, okay? Just like when I turn on the TV show for 2 hours to watch wrestling, okay? For once, I want to stop seeing the news about a brand new mass shooting somewhere in the States. And I can just oh my God, can I just watch wrestling and then just tune out all of that stuff for at least 2 hours so I don't have to be miserable? That's what these movies are for. And then when you take all that stuff and you just jam it down our throats, it's not enjoyable anymore, man. And the same thing, and it's even more so on video games more than movies and television
Feige,
shows.
I think we're
That's for
getting to
damn
a
sure.
point soon where we have so many great female characters that those are just our heroes, as opposed to when they are all female, all male. It's just the Marvel heroes, more than half of which will be women. And since taking a year off from a government overreaction to a cold for both companies, it's been all downhill from there. Disney Marvel
Yep.
decided to go all in on the MCU and the message and bypass this thing known as a plan.
The MCU. Oh my gosh. Wow. He's not wrong.
Leading to diminishing returns that should be taught in films.
By the way, if you think that I'm wrong or this video is wrong, it's your right to think that way. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to give you crap. This is entertainment. It's subjective. Okay? But you are not doing anything to dissuade me and tell me that because of all this stuff and the points being made in this video, that is not the exact reason why Star Wars is ruined. And if you don't think nothing's wrong with Star Wars right now, you must be living under a rock.
Schools. Phase 5 was an era of lore destruction, character vandalization, both male and female, and identity politics.
God.
From Black Widow, a prequel about a dead character that performed so poorly it led to the film's star Scarlett Johansson suing Disney, to the good friend of Pepper Potts, who was now running Stark Industries, the Falcon not being able to get a bank loan where they insinuate it's due to his race, to the deification of the terrorist Freckle Jesus, to turning the Infinity Stones into paperweights, to attacking attacking fans in She-Hulk, to making Thor a bumbling idiot, to making Nick Fury a fraud, to Hawkeye getting his ass kicked by Kate Bishop and Echo, to making the Kingpin cry.
That is one home run after another, after another, after another, after another. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying here?
To the abysmal flop that was the Marvels, to centering both phases around the villain Jonathan Majors Kang, who should have been fired for his performance and not for his alleged allegations.
Damn.
No.
To the female Silver Surfer. Combine that with bloated budgets, bloated narratives, inconsistent.
I don't think, look, Jennifer Gardner, I have a massive crush on her, mostly thanks to the Ozark television show with Jason Bateman. Love her in that. Great actor. Yeah, I would have loved to seen that, you know, the original male version of the character, but it didn't detract from the movie. The movie was boring. Okay? That's the biggest problem. The movie was too boring for me. And Mr. Fantastic was not Mr. Fantastic enough. Okay? Reed Richards wasn't as smart and brilliant as he should have been, like he was in the comics. The guy was struggling the whole film. He wasn't Mr. Reachy Bendy, stretchy, a lot. He barely did any of that crap. Okay? The one who flexed in the movie the whole time was Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. He was the best one.
Combine that with bloated budgets, bloated narratives, inconsistent storytelling, lack of focus, horrific CGI, and content overload. It was a recipe for disaster. Speaking of content overload, Marvel Phases 1 through 3 had roughly 50 plus hours in content in total. Compare that to Marvel's Phase 4 and 5, which had a combined 100 plus hours of content, give or take.
This is the good. Right here on the left. Here on the right, this is when they started to decline. This is when they started to reach the same level of DC.
And if even half of it was good, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Sure, there were successes, and if it wasn't for those bloated budgets, there might have been more, but the only unquestionable ones are Spider-Man No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine. Both films were filled with cameos.
Oh my god, I have not watched that one yet. Well, that's a spoiler. I've been meaning
But
to
the
get...
only unquestionable ones are
I've been meaning to watch this movie. I just never had the time. I think I'm going to watch it tonight. I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm going to watch it tonight. It's on Disney Plus, right? Oh well.
Spider-Man No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine. Both films were filled with cameos from characters largely out of the MCU, and 75% of Spider-Man's profits went to Sony. Speaking of Sony, because we don't want to leave them out of this, although they are easy to forget despite the success of the animated Miles Morales films and the inexplicable success of a couple of Tom Hardy Venom films, they've also given us bangers like the memeable Morbius and Kraven. You remember Kraven came out? And of course, the gloriously awful Madam Web.
Kraven wasn't that bad. It was just, this could have... It was weird. It was weird.
Even you remember...
Because the thing about Marvel films is take your pick of actor and actresses. There have been a couple of IPs where the same actor has been used on 2 or 3 different characters. You know, some started out as a villain, then they ended up being a superhero, and then they ended up being another character, and then another character, whatever. If you guys don't remember, he was Quicksilver in one of the X-Men movies.
Craven came out, and of course, the gloriously awful Madam Web. But there was one more.
Ah, yes. Madam Web, the one and only superhero movie where I quit halfway through. I thought it was absolute trash.
Madam Web. But there was one more success with Disney Marvel, the holdover Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, directed by James Gunn, who then fucked off to DC, where his first publicly perceived act was to get rid of Henry Cavill as Superman. And Warner Brothers and James Gunn didn't do themselves any favors. Since the Joker's release in 2019, as far as films that have been released in theaters is concerned, they've had no less than 9 flops. That's right, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn flopped. Wonder Woman 1984 flopped. The Suicide Squad.
How did the second Wonder Woman movie flop? How? They had everything right there. They had everything right there. They just had to, like, they take the template of the first movie and then they make it for the second one. And then, oh, they just decided to pivot one too many times. Oh, this person doesn't like the plot. And oh, this person doesn't like the way that this character is portrayed. So we're going to change that. Oh, but if we change this character's portrayal, then we have to change that person's portrayal. Because then on screen, it's going to look like that they're very similar. Oh my God. Stop.
Directed by James Gunn, flopped. Black Adam, flopped. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, flopped. The Flash, featuring Michael Keaton's return.
I liked the second Shazam movie more than Black Adam. I liked it more than Black Adam.
Batman and 2 Ezra Millers flopped. Let's talk about Blue Beetle. It flopped. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom flopped. And Joker.
Again, you had the template. All you had to do was take everything that you've done from the first one and do the same for the second one. Oh my gosh. Why? You know, at least with this and just, at least for Superman and the upcoming Supergirl movie, it looks like DC is staying out of James Gunn's way. At least we got that going, okay? Then we can judge the entire premise on, we can just blame James Gunn if we don't like something or if something is bad or flops. We don't have to blame, oh, it's the executives, it's the CEOs, it was DC, it was Warner, they kept trying to control the situation. No, we ain't gonna have none of that. At least now, it's gonna be easier to blame, to put the blame on somebody or something.
Flopped, and Joker 2 flopped. And their only real successes, The Batman, which is a divisive film, mostly due to its horrible third act, and the best thing they've done since Joker 2019, the Penguin series on HBO.
I just started watching this. I'm on episode 3. Really enjoying it so far. I hope Colin Farrell comes back as the Penguin.
And then there's James Gunn's Superman, which was neither a flop or a resounding success.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. It was somewhere in the middle. But I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. It had problems. Okay? But the problems have to do with the character, with the Superman character itself. That's just me. Everybody has different type of problems. The majority of people seem to think that this was too campy, too goofy. And everybody loved the seriousness of Zack Snyder's version. Or Zack Snyder's vision of his DC.
It's the film equivalent of what our pal It's a Gundam calls a gassed up mid. Since 2020, combining TV shows and film, DC, Disney Marvel, and Disney Sony have produced 66 projects. And the vast majority of them have been mediocre to abysmal. Because again, if half of those projects were mediocre to good, we wouldn't be talking about superhero fatigue. I mean, could you blame anyone? Even the biggest fans? Christ, 66 projects?
Boy. That escalated quickly.
And I can hear you now, hypothetical dear viewer. Is it superhero fatigue or bad movie fatigue? And my answer is yes.
Both.
And now we need to talk about the future of
Both.
superhero films. We'll start with Sony because this will be the easiest one to prognosticate, and arguably they made the smartest decision by canceling all the Spider-Man villain spin-offs. And they're just gonna make Spider-Man movies, and the only one they're really doing on their own is the third Miles Morales film that'll come.
That's real smart. Real smart. I like that. Good job on you, Sony.
Out someday. Side note on Miles Morales, the co-creator of this derivative character, Sarah Bocelli, recently reported she's getting 0 residuals. Now, while it's an undisputed fact that Miles Morales is Miles Morales, Marvel should still pay the lady. As far as the DCU is
Yeah, that's kind of effed up. Kind of effed up. Not gonna lie.
concerned, I would say it was looking pretty hopeful until Superman came out and James Gunn started running his yapper, which has been the prime contributor to the DCU being so divisive.
He's too busy trying to appease everybody. I think he just needs to get his feet wet. Okay. Stay on topic. Don't pivot away. Don't get scared. Just go all in. Have 1,000 complete confidence in yourself. He said he's already got the first 5 movies of his universe planned and laid out. Stick to it. Don't change it, no matter what. Because you have to start thinking 50% of the people ain't going to like it because they liked the previous DC movies. Just make your movies. Okay? At least you don't have this CEO or this guy above my head or that guy above my head telling you what to do. Just make your movies. Okay? Bring in the money. Make the money.
Aside from the fact that he should have probably focused more on making a good Superman film instead of planning an entire cinematic universe that he was going to change anyway, including announcing The Authority as your second film, which wasn't even originally a DC title. That
See, when he did this, he's trying to create the DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy. Remember when they first announced Guardians of the Galaxy? Everybody was like, who the F is that? Like, even I didn't know who Guardians of the Galaxy. The only member of Guardians of the Galaxy I knew of was Rocket Raccoon, because I had a comic book card. I think it was a Fleer Ultra or some type of collectible comic book trading card. And it was a Rocket Raccoon. But I had no idea Rocket Raccoon was a member of, that superhero IP. The Guardians of the Galaxy. I never knew it. I had to do some research and look at it and say, oh, that's Rocket Raccoon. I know who that is. I was like, oh, he's part of this? Okay. Then I was like, okay, I'm interested in this. Everybody's going to be like, who the hell are these guys? All of the young kids right now, or the young adults in their college, they want Injustice, Gods Amongst Us. Okay? They played the video games. Those kids like that video game. They wanted to see the Justice League movie go to Injustice. Now they go like, oh, we got to start all over, dude. And then James wants to bring all these smaller DC IPs.
belonged to Jim Lee's.
Is it going to work out? Is the gamble going to work out? I don't know. But you got to say, hey, nobody knew who Guardians of the Galaxy were. And at least for me, they were, to me, the strength. If you take away the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy were the strength, the backbone of the entire phase 1 through 3, man. For me, at least.
Wildstorm. Now, it was a wise move for James Gunn.
Love his casting as Lex Luthor. Love it. Nicholas Hoult, perfect Lex Luthor.
To scan that film, but what he's come out with so far is not exactly inspiring. And for starting an entire cinematic universe, it lacks any focus, narrative, or...
It should have been more about Superman and less about the other heroes that were featured in this movie. I agree. But still, I still think that they humanize Superman too. We'll see how it works out.
World building, but there is one commonality with all the projects he's produced with DC, from the Suicide Squad to Creature Commandos to Superman to Peacemaker. They all feature a ragtag group of smart talking, irreverent, and semi-cynical heroes, but mostly anti-heroes, who come together due to some crisis and go on an adventure where they find the true meaning of heroism and found family, all set to a soundtrack of classic pop tunes or music from bands that would fit nicely in a mid-2000s Coachella lineup, which I know is totally different than Guardians of the Galaxy. But in all seriousness, as a fan of most of James Gunn's work, I did question if he was the right guy for Superman, and that was answered after I saw Superman. He's not the right guy. So far, we've gotten a cartoon nobody's watched, a Superman movie where Superman wasn't very super and the best character was...
What did I say?
Nobody's watched, a Superman movie where Superman wasn't very super and the best character was...
Exactly. Exactly.
Was Mr. Terrific, and
Superman was nerfed.
and he's introduced things like prison sex and a drug-filled bisexual adult soiree before things like Batman and Wonder Woman. And yes, Peacemaker Season 2 in particular was as bad, if not worse, than any Disney Plus show. But absolutely none of it is aspirational or inspirational, something that's vital in a...
The best part of Peacemaker Season 2 was the soundtrack. It, unfortunately, Season 1 of Peacemaker was mid. I found it to be mid. But it was way better than Season 2. Man, what a fumble that was.
Superman movie, and for establishing the foundation of a DC universe. This brings us to the next film of the DCU, Supergirl, who was last seen at the end of Superman's James Gunn, where she called the Man of Steel a bitch.
Thanks for watching him, bitch!
Your little quips, we get it, man. You're edgy and cool, yeah.
Now, the poster was revealed prior to the trailer release, where it said truth, justice, and whatever. Now, if they had used truth, justice, and the American way at any point in Superman, this might be justifiable, but considering they didn't, it looks like exactly what it is: more nihilism and cynicism. And the trailer certainly didn't help, because again, it opens up with Krypto peeing on the face of Superman on a newspaper. And for anyone trying to justify this by pointing out that Kara Zor-El is also on that newspaper, stop it. The stream hits him right in the damn face, and it was just a bad decision. Sure, good job on creating conversations online, but it's not going to do anything to win people over. The only highlight was a 1-second silhouette of Lobo, but otherwise it just looked like another carbon copy of Guardians of the...
Exactly, that's what I just said. That's what a lot of people said. This feels like Guardians of the Galaxy, but you take away the Guardians and you insert DC characters in it, man. Well, I'll say this. There's one guarantee. This is going to be a fun movie and an entertaining film. But is it going to be good? Or is it going to be... you know?
Galaxy, and it featured this line.
He sees the good in everyone. And I see the truth.
Just more irreverent, cynical nihilism. In other words, James Gunn's wheelhouse. But if you were wondering why there was so much gaslighting to make Superman look like more of a success than it was, well, we got our answer. WB's for sale to Netflix of all places, which is the worst possible news for any Lord of the Rings fan, Game of Thrones fan, Harry Potter fan, and particular DC fans.
Mortal Kombat. Let's not forget Mortal Kombat. Warner Brothers owns Mortal Kombat, but they also own New Line Cinema. Somebody in the comments section who knows more about that stuff. Warner Brothers is a... New Line Cinema is a Warner Brothers property, isn't it? All that. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is going to die if it goes to Netflix, man.
I mean, my first question is, what happens to DC Comics? Paramount is still in the mix, but what it does do is put James Gunn's long-term future in doubt, along with the long-term future of the superhero film being in doubt. And this brings us back to Marvel, whose next two films are undoubtedly going to be massive hits. And that's because both films are going to be absolutely packed with cameos. Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to feature the return of the Scorpion, the return of the Savage Incredible Hulk, and Punisher, among others. And while I can't be specific, but this character's name has already been floated out there.
You know how many people wanted a solo Gambit movie? So many people. So many. Like, why? Why haven't they decided to, like, just... I mean, DC made a Blue Beetle movie. Why couldn't Marvel say, hey, Gambit seems pretty popular. Why you don't make a Gambit movie? Shh.
The introduction of the first MCU member of the X-Men. And then, of course, there's Doomsday that features everyone else. A film that may devolve into essentially being Robert Downey Jr. kills the Marvel Universe. A movie I think that's going to be a lot closer to Doctor Strange Mom rather than Infinity War or Endgame. Still, it's going to be a cameo fest that's going to make a lot of money. But as with Spider-Man No Way Home,
Could have done it when he was younger, too. Just saying.
Home and Deadpool and Wolverine, it is not going to solve the long-term problems of the MCU or superhero films. Recently, the Doomsday teams were revealed, and they were mostly dudes, leading to 5s and 10s of women on Twitter decrying that they need the MCU back, proving
No! No, absolutely not. No. You had your fun in the sun. You had your 15 minutes of fame. Now it's time to get back to what it was meant to be. Okay? Fantasy. Make believe. Okay? Jesus.
collectively that they have the short-term memory of a goldfish, considering we just got the female Silver Surfer and Ironheart a few short months ago.
Exactly.
MCU versus MC.
Oh God, no! Oh my God, she's so annoying. Oh, Grace. God, she's so cringe, man. She's so cringe. If anybody doesn't know who she is, she's like the biggest shill in the movie critic community. Seriously. You give her $50, she'll change her opinion about something. Oh my God.
Now, even I was starting to feel it was a little MCU-y the last year or so.
I'm sorry. You got somebody pro MCU saying she's kind of sick and tired of the MCU. That's saying something, man. Wow.
Maybe, it sounds horrible, but it was kind of getting crazy. I think Disney overall has had a little bit of an issue with that. No matter how many women you cram into these movies, for the most part, they don't go.
I'm sorry, could you speak into my good...
Oh, man. Oh, man. I am so happy I reacted to this video.
I know what you're thinking. The end is nigh. Grace Randolph just made a good point, but not to worry. She reverts back to form.
I told you. This woman has... You guys know pro wrestling. This woman has turned babyface heel more than the Big Show. Oh my gosh, man.
Forgets what she said a mere few seconds ago and contradicts it.
But I think that we might have overcorrected a little bit. This is an extremely male-centric cast. And I think not only is it male...
Oh, she did an about face on the same video. Wow.
Centric, but it doesn't have any female characters to excite female and LGBTQ audiences. You know what I'm talking about. Those of us who love Wicked, Barbie, the Disney live action fairy tales, and even Avatar.
Haha, even Grace thinks Avatar is a movie for Barbie and Wicked fans. Anyways, to state the obvious, Disney Marvel has been making movies for those demographics for the last half decade, and as
Yes, they have.
you pointed out, Grace, they didn't show up. Barbie and Wicked Part 1 were successes because they were made for girls and gays, and they need to stop making superhero films for Wicked and Barbie fans.
This movie is for the comic book girlies and gays, so y'all better start reading, okay? I cannot wait for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow to come out.
Paraphrasing my good friend Chris Gore, turning Marvel into a girl brand will prove to be one of the costliest decisions in entertainment.
That's what I said about Star Wars. I'm one of the biggest Star Wars geeks out there. And I said it before. I said it 5 minutes, 10 minutes into this video.
History. But again, getting rid of the MCU and replacing them with Cameo Fest doesn't even begin to fix the problem. You need to win not only dudes back, but normies of all makes, shapes, and sizes. But getting an audience back is much easier said than done. Think about this. The movie that technically...
If you think the superhero movie genre is cooked, dude, the video game industry is 10 times worse, dude. 10 times worse. But at least on television and movies, you can it's course correctable. It'll course correct quicker, much quicker than the video games industry.
Started it all for Marvel. Blade can't be made today. Well, they can, but they won't, because they've dialed things up to such ridiculous levels that it's not financially viable to go back to formula, which is what they need to do.
Back to formula.
Yes! And that is the absolute state of superhero films. They were the most healthy when you could make a solo superhero film. Long gone are those days, and remember when they made comic book films that weren't Marvel or DC? From 300 to Sin City to Dread to History of Violence to Kingsman to Kick-Ass to Hellboy to The Mask. We had it so good back then. Now they'll be able to make Batman and Spider-Man movies forever. But keep in mind, the next Spider-Man movie is, again, filled with cameos. And what was the last Superman filled with? Cameos, when they should be able to survive just fine on their own against their arch villain. But now everything just looks like Ready Player One. But some of the main components of most modern superheroes that are missing are earnestness, aspiration, inspiration, and heroism. And that's because I think there are very few left in Tinseltown who either believe in that or even know what it means. I think the vast majority see Superman.
They just want to appease corporate greed. And corporate greed will always try to follow politics. I don't know, guys. Maybe Marvel and DC comic book movie lovers, maybe we're cooked after all.
As Homelander, the hero has been deconstructed to death. What they've needed to do for years, and it's possibly too late, is reconstruct a hero. The reason films like Star Wars, Christopher Reeve's Superman, and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man hit like they did, aside from being great films, is they were well-timed. They were inspirational stories in bad times. And God knows we can use that right now, and I know some might feel that is childish or naive. Well, I'd rather be that than some nihilistic black-pilled twat, because right now, Hollywood's just...
He actually went there.
Just deconstructing the deconstruction. When everything's irreverent, then nothing is. And how in the hell can you subvert expectations when the expectation is the thing we love is going to be subverted? And that's why people are just over it. Which
exactly. It's going to be like, we already know, like, we see this first teaser trailer. It's like, oh, so it's just Guardians of the Galaxy, but with Supergirl as the lead star. Or Supergirl in the Supergirl universe.
is certainly reflected in those box office numbers. And that's why it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that Crypto pissing on Superman's face is the encapsulation of the absolute state of superhero films, which is a damn shame because the degradation of our American mythology.
How much you want to bet that when they have their first true big team up movie, when they get their first big universal threat villain, how much you want to bet it's not going to be Superman standing in the center? It's going to be Supergirl. I have a distinct feeling. Because in the teaser trailer, Supergirl actually looked like Supergirl. She looked badass. The first thing we see of Superman was he gets cratered into the snow in Antarctica and had to be dragged away kicking and screaming by Crypto, man. The same Crypto that pissed on his face on the newspaper in that Supergirl trailer. Oh my gosh. Can we just have David Corenswet Superman just in the next movie? Can we just have him have a more serious face when he's fighting? Okay. Superman is supposed to be OP. I'm just saying. He's Superman, okay? You made Ultraman look more powerful than Superman in that film. You humanized him too much, James. Okay? At this point, optically, you made it look like Supergirl is stronger than Superman. And will be going forward. Man.
Including but not limited to Star Wars, Star Trek, and the superhero film can match the degradation in pop culture and culture. And that's not a good thing. And we've gone from truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and whatever. And if Hollywood doesn't care, why should we?
Nerdrotic.com.
That's a good point, ladies and gentlemen. Nerdrotic, please go ahead. Please go to the channel. I'll put the link down below. I'll also link the video that we just react to down below. Please subscribe to the channel. If you guys enjoyed it, if you guys hated it, if you guys agreed with it, if you guys disagreed with it, or if you learned something from this video that you didn't know before and maybe it swayed you to have a different opinion, let me know. Comment section down below. But yeah, there's a lot more videos like this, and he really goes to town. Go back a couple of years when I got into his channel and started watching his content was during seasons between season 7 and season 8 of Game of Thrones. You want to see roasting? Go check out the videos from that era. And he has some very legendary rants on the Star Wars IP as well that I very much 85 to 90% agree with. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. I know this is an hour long, but like I said, I am really interested in topics like this. If it's not listening to, the music that I react to on a daily and weekly basis, if it's not playing video games and live streaming, doing content, it's watching content like this, because I do follow and watch all of these superhero movies and stuff like that. And by the way, I don't favoritize one over the other. I like both DC and Marvel equally, believe it or not. Okay? Spider-Man and Batman are tied for my favorite superheroes. So, anyway, let me know what you guys thought. I know it's a long video, but When you guys do see this go up, I'm just letting you guys know that on Thursday I will be live streaming building a brand new computer from start to finish. Join me Thursday morning. I'll be live on Twitch, I'll be live on Kick, and I think I might be live on YouTube as well. I'm going to be building my new computer. Not the computer that I wanted, because AI screwed the prices of some of the computer components, but nonetheless, everything except for the CPU is going to be brand new. So come on by the live stream in a couple of days. Thank you guys so much for watching. Rock on to the next. I'll see you guys in the next. Peace.